Ladies and gentlemen, at long last, we finally have our first real look at Samsung's Galaxy Z TriFold. This is a folding phone like the Galaxy Z Fold, but it has two hinges, which means that it opens up into an even larger inner screen. Now, for this news, we're going to be looking at a couple of South Korean news publications. I'll put links in the description down below. We have a headline translated from Korean, obviously. Even if you fold it twice, you won't see any wrinkles. Samsung Electronics unveils first physical tri-fold phone. Their first. Obviously, Huawei has released something like this already. And there you go, guys. That is the Samsung Galaxy Z tri-fold. That is apparently what they're going to be calling it. That's what it's being called in all of these different articles. Now, this device was unveiled in kind of a strange way, right? It's actually behind glass. They have a couple of them. One that's opened up, revealing this 10-ish inch screen. You have a hole punch selfie camera there, and then another one kind of next to it where it's folded up, showing the cover display, which is actually on the back of the device. It folds in twice, and then you see the back of the device. I actually made a piece of cardboard. I didn't make the cardboard. That's crazy. I cut the cardboard to kind of demonstrate what that would be like. So there's your cover display, and it would be like this. You would obviously larger than this, but you would use the phone like this, and then you have your cameras on the back. And then when you want to open the thing up, you're using it looking at that screen. You would fold it over and then over again, and then this would be your inner display. That's how this thing is actually going to unfold. And you can see, once again, a hole punch selfie camera there, and then sort of like projected on the glass, they're playing an animation that explains to people exactly what I just showed you, how the thing unfolds twice, and then you have that larger inner screen. Now, just to be clear, this is, as I said, being shown behind glass. No one got their hands on this. This is apparently at something called the K-Tech Showcase, and Samsung basically just said, we have this thing and it's coming relatively soon. And again, no one got to actually touch the thing. They're just looking at it like it's an animal in the zoo. This also does make me laugh. Samsung's double folding tri-fold smartphone. Every time I read stuff like that, it just never ceases to make me laugh. We also have this tweet from Ice Universe where this appears to be sort of a closer image of this, and you can see a few more details here. So you can see the power button and then the volume rocker there, a clearer look at that hole punch selfie camera, the side view. Guys, honestly, that does not look that thick at all. I mean, we're talking about comparing this to the Z Fold 7, which is a very, like, crazy thin device. It's not obviously as thin as that, but if you were worried that this thing was going to be super chunky and thick because it has to fold over twice, I don't think it's gonna be. This looks kind of reminiscent of just some older Z Folds, which really weren't that bad. And then considering you could open it up into a 10-inch screen, I think that's a pretty decent trade-off. Also, it's hard to tell what kind of crease we're going to be getting, but there should be a crease right here, and there should be another one right here. And you can see a little bit of a ripple in that reflection right there and right there. So you're definitely going to be able to see a bit of a crease, but at least from this angle, it does look pretty good. Obviously, you have to be able to manipulate this thing and turn it around to really appreciate how big of a crease there's going to be. To me, the crease is really a non-issue. It's been to the point really since the beginning that it's, unless you're looking for it, you're not going to see it anyways. But nonetheless, from a technological perspective, it is interesting to see how these things are improved. And I think that it also sort of, to me, speaks to how harshly the ultra thin glass is being folded over, and that also kind of makes me feel more secure about the device, knowing that it's not being bent as harshly. One other thing that I find interesting is that in all of these articles, this is another different South Korean publication, no one seems to have any images of the back of the device. From what we can tell from these animations that, again, we found, or not we, the other people found inside One UI beta builds, it does look like it's going to be very similar in appearance to the Galaxy Z Fold 7 with, the same camera bump style sort of that they've been using for quite some time. It's rumored to have a 200 megapixel primary sensor. The rest of the camera setup, a little bit harder to pin down, but we've not seen the back of the device just yet. This publication actually says Samsung's initial production is expected to be around 50,000 to 100,000 units. It's reported that the launch country will be limited to some countries, South Korea and China. We've been hearing that really since the beginning. Some rumors that maybe it could come elsewhere, but I've been telling you guys from the beginning, my assumption is South Korea, China, just like the special edition. And if it sells really well, maybe they'll do a broader launch towards the middle-ish of 2026. But 100,000 units, that is a very, very small amount. I mean, keep in mind, we just got done talking about how the S26 Edge sold 190,000 units in the first month. Now, granted, that is a global release, so a whole lot more potential customers, but it sold 190,000, and the Edge line is apparently already dead. So their expectations are not particularly high for this thing. We don't really know the price. We think it's coming very, very soon, like before the end of this year. It keeps being said now we've finally seen it. But again, not expecting to sell a ton of these. Also on Twitter, you can see the animation I was talking about where they show the thing actually being unfolded twice like that. And you can unfold it both ways. There's been actually some confusion on Reddit and in the comment section about the folding mechanism where people have wondered like, oh, well, I've seen it unfold like this, but then I've also seen in animations that were buried inside one UI, it unfolding in a different way and people questioning exactly how the fold is actually going to work. It's the same thing. Whether you're like this and you unfold it like this, that means you were looking at the cameras, you were looking at the back of the device, or you look at the front of the device, you're using the cover display and you unfold it like this. It's the same thing, so don't be confused by that. At this precise moment, I think that that's really all we have on this Galaxy Z Trifold. Again, we finally have our first actual real eyes on this device, and I think that it does at least look quite impressive. I know some of you do prefer Huawei's method of doing this, where the hinge goes in and out. It's sort of in a Z shape, like an accordion, because that does afford you different form factors, basically. You can unfold it part of the way or all of the way, and either way, the device is usable. So basically gives you like a normal size fold or a much larger size fold. But that also does necessitate your cover display being made of ultra thin glass, and that does kind of give me some pause for concern. It appears as though Samsung is going with the more durable method of having that fragile folding glass be completely encased inside your phone like a normal folding phone. That sort of more fragile UTG is just inside, so there's nothing going to mess with that. It's Gorilla Glass on the cover, so a lot more durable potentially by doing it that way. Again, there's there's a benefit and there's a cost to doing anything, so a trade-off as always. Guys, let me know what you think about this though in those comments down below. Is this something you're thinking about importing? I really think, like a lot of us, I just want to know what the price is going to be. We've seen rumors and speculation. Is it going to be $2,500, $3,000? Who knows? We're just all guessing until Samsung actually says what the price is going to be. And then, unfortunately, it's probably not going to be in US dollars. You're going to have to import this thing. And then are there going to be tariffs you're going to have to pay as well? That's going to drive up the price, additionally. Think about that. If it's a 10% tariff on a device that's $2,500, that's a $250 tariff. That could really, really drive the price of this thing up. So there's a lot that is still in the air, but should have some fun conversations in those comments down below, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.